Today, something happened that could change Brawl Stars forever. And this is really not a joke. There's no clickbait title, nothing too flashy. It's really real. And I'm going to explain to you from A to Z what's really going to happen on Brawl Stars and whether it's really going to happen too. But in any case, there's a strong chance and we have to talk about it. And I promise you, as always, I'm not lying. Just before starting the video, I'll quickly explain what it's about. It's mainly going to talk about all the random rewards, like for example, the star drops. This involves all of Brawl Stars because there are also some in the Brawl Pass, in the Pro Pass, the whole shop, so all the offers related to the store. In short, all of that is likely to change. It's not really Brawl Stars now since we're used to boxes, but that's changing. We'll discuss it, so don't worry. Before starting this video, as usual, don't forget the likes, comments, subscriptions, and of course the code PERIADO. As always, thank you to those who use it. Once again, a huge thank you to everyone who gets the pass with the code PERIADO. And don't forget to get it earlier on the Supercell store. Plus, the Pro Pass is going to start soon, for those who want it. Here's the video I made yesterday. Thanks so much to everyone who supports me. Let's get started. Enjoy watching. Before starting this video, don't forget to check out the Supercell store. Every day there are little gifts like that. Well, here it's 100 bling, but sometimes it's 100 credits. There are always little offers. It's pretty interesting, so don't forget. Oh yeah, and before we start, we're also going to talk about predictions for this weekend. For those who are interested, don't forget, I'll talk about it more towards the end of the video, but there will also be predictions made. It's important. So what's happening on Brawl Stars? Well, as for the post, it's not the most interesting thing. We had actually described this famous roadmap. 2 days ago, we saw what Brawl Stars was going to change. So, ranked, cosmetics, prestiges, why not? Anyway, we described pretty much everything. We're not going to go over it again, but it was one of the most important things. We had another post. If you had 3 wishes on Brawl Stars, what would they be? Basically, it was mainly about Larry and Laurie's arrival. With this famous skin, we see that it's in Tara's Bazaar, so one of the very first themes of Brawl Stars. You can especially see Spike right here. There's a little kit there, which is interesting because normally he isn't there at all. In this trio, there's a little Ambrosia. It's quite interesting because there's this little thing and I don't really see what it is. Anyway, we have Mo, we have Colette, Chester, Charlie. You can see there are quite a few trios. We have a Meeple imprisoned with Rosa and Byron up there. In the end, Tara's Bazaar was never really respected. It's really Tara, Jean, and Emery in that trio, but we don't see them at all. Anyway, the image is quite interesting. You should still remember it because we're entering a new season. Yes, but just a reminder, Brawl Talk is in about a month and I expect clues to appear soon. Brawl Stars just released an image with no description. Honestly, I think it's just a troll. Regarding Nvidia, I don't see anything else unless it's with RTX enabled. Anyway, those who have PCs will understand. I don't see why they released this kind of image. So let's move on quickly before continuing the video. We're also going to talk about the offers. So I see a lot of people saying, yes, there are offers, rewards, etc. Well, everything is paid. Yes, it's St. Patrick's Day. The in-game shop is offering deals on resources. So we have gems, gold, and power points. Honestly, these aren't the best offers, let's say, and they're definitely not rewards. A reward means you have to do something to get it. It's just the usual paid content here. I get annoyed by misleading titles that don't reflect reality. There are still some offers like the Emery Hypnosis skin at 60% off if anyone's interested. Is it really worth it? Not really. I think it's still 10 euros for just one skin. Honestly, I can only advise against it if you really want to get something. Either way, you see, it's just for the skins. I could maybe understand that. Or if it's about resources, you might say, why not? Honestly, it's not that worthwhile. The best option is to get the Brawl Pass or Pro Pass. I think those are really the most worthwhile things. All the other offers, well, they're not really necessary. By the way, there was something interesting. Spy cartoon was on sale. So here we can see it at 179 gems. I showed you there was an offer actually that was at 177 gems, 6.99 euros, and the Spy cartoon was more expensive. Anyway, it was a somewhat worthwhile deal. They removed the Spy cartoon since it wasn't meant to appear here. However, some people bought it early and benefited, even though it normally wouldn't be discounted. Anyway, that's a small mistake from Supercell itself. It's not the most important thing, but at least now you know everything. Last thing, we also have the ranked mode, which is finally over. Today marks the end of the ranked season. You have a few hours left to make one last effort. Well, now it's completely over. So there will be a new Pro Pass. I did a full pack opening for it yesterday. Feel free to watch the full video. We're also trying out the new skins at the same time, like the Corback Chromas and so on. Honestly, I think the video is pretty cool. So we'll have a 4-month season with a new Pro Pass. Now let's get to the heart of the matter. Let's talk about this. Supercell just announced some changes for Brazilian players. They gave us a little article like this, so I went to check it out. It actually started on March 17, which was yesterday, and the article was written kind of suddenly. So let's see, what does this article say? There are 2 sentences that interest us. We learned that starting from March 17, there are new regulations in Brazil, and so the game will undergo some changes. This sentence here is important. As part of these changes, paid random rewards will be removed or replaced and additional age verification steps may be introduced for players in Brazil. Be careful, it's not over yet. These updates ensure compliance with local laws so we can keep operating in the region. They also say they're doing everything possible to provide the best experience. So you can already see that in Brazil, the game is going to change completely. And wait, it's not over yet. Well, first of all, we're mainly going to talk about France because most of you are French or even French speaking, and we have pretty much the same laws. Some time ago, you probably saw some articles saying that social networks were going to be banned for those under 15, or you need to go through age verification with your parents to use those accounts. Normally, those who are under 15 then will no longer be able to watch certain videos on social networks like, for example, YouTube. We don't know if this is being enforced yet since it hasn't happened yet. This law is set for late 2026, but on TikTok, Instagram, and similar platforms, those under 15 typically can't access them anymore. For now, it's not enforced yet, but we know there are bills about this, and here it's pretty much the same thing, so there are plenty of articles that explain more or less the same thing. I did this to better show the situation and help you understand. However, the European Commission recently adopted, so they've been looking into studios and publishers for a few years now. So for example, Supercell, where there are in-app purchases and especially where there are loot boxes. What does that mean? Let me explain differently so you might understand better. For example, in Brawl Stars, you can buy a box and pay for it. 79 gems to keep it simple. Let's say you pay just €1, but you can see that these gems can be converted into euros. So you put money into the game, even if maybe you got those gems for free. Basically, it's still something you pay for, since there are people who buy gems to get random rewards. Up to this point, I hope you're following along. These little boxes. So, they give you rewards that are random, and you can either be lucky or not lucky, and end up with a bad reward. Like, for example, 50 gold, while others get a legendary skin that costs several euros. Technically, what's important here is that the European Commission has declared that loot boxes are games of chance and therefore must be banned for minors. That's exactly what just happened in Brazil. All games of chance that are a bit like Brawl Stars, since there are boxes where it's random, even though we agree it's not a casino game or anything crazy, but it has to comply with the law, and that's especially why all random rewards are being removed. What does that mean for Brawl Stars? I know it's a bit long, but it's still important because Brawl Stars is literally going to change this law. It's happening in Europe and so also in France. It means that all random rewards, so star drops, but also anything else that's random besides star drops and that you can buy. So, daily wins shouldn't change since that's something you can get for free. However, all the rewards that are in the Brawl Pass, for example, or even the Brawl Pass itself, sometimes there are 1,000. But that's not a problem since you know what you're buying. You buy, I don't know, your Brawl Pass for 10 euros. You know there's gold in it. That's not a problem. However, if you have a star drop in it, that's random. And that's what bothers this famous commission. Which means that, for example, the Brawl Pass or all the offers we have in the shop, the Pro Pass, all those things, there will be a real change to them. And so you can see what's coming with things like star drops, etc. Is this gonna last on Brawl Stars? I'm not sure since it's random and currently under scrutiny. Many changes are happening in France, Europe, and even globally, like in Brazil. We don't know where it's headed. Currently, nothing is official, but it's under scrutiny. I believe this is the first time you're hearing and seeing this. But it's important, and maybe in a few months or even a few years, I think it will be implemented. You'll say, Periado, actually, he wasn't crazy and he was right. So be careful, it's not happening now, but I think it promises big changes. For Brawl Stars, they might be getting ready for all this, because if they don't want the game to die, they have to adapt it for each country every time. I hope you understood all this. Either way, it signals a big change. This update isn't major, but it's not insignificant either. Since we're discussing the Pro Pass, tomorrow is actually its launch. If you get this Pro Pass, for example, you get 600 free gems. Keep in mind, for us it costs 29 euros and we get 10,000 gold for free. So with the paid version, we get twice as many points. For the Pro Pass, we get an instant boost. A hypercharged star drop, 34 ranked star drops, 31 random star drops, 8 mythic and 8 legendary. So now, you pretty much know what we get for the free version and also for the paid version, and finally all the cosmetics, etc. It's pretty interesting to see all this. Honestly, considering the number of gems, remember there are about 600 gems and you get 50 for free, but you can see that 360 gems normally cost 24 euros. Now, if you get the Pro Pass and manage to finish it, normally it costs 29.99 euros, and if you manage to finish it, it's definitely worth it. Well, be careful, it's not really worth it, but we're comparing it to the price of gems. Be careful with your money, don't spend it on just anything. We mentioned this in the last video, but let's also remind you about the upcoming buffs in Brawl Stars. Edgar normally, Colette, Griff. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to seeing an Edgar with buffs. If Edgar becomes meta, that would be pretty funny. But honestly, I see Rico being completely overpowered, and that's actually really scary. But we would also have Brock and Arcade, so those trios would be affected by the buffs. Nothing official yet, but we've had some hints before all the predictions. We're going to react to some short videos. Hi Brawl Stars, I'm not very convinced by the new ball mechanics. Indeed, there are a lot of bugs, and I saw this particular bug. It's a bit much. We know there are bugs with the ball, but this one is really crazy. So here, you can see that the ball doesn't stop and just keeps rolling like that. He's dead, but it keeps rolling. And yes, he's going to score the goal this way. Honestly, the ball, we've seen that sometimes there are bugs like it teleports and everything, but here it moves on its own. It's really insane because it goes straight into the goal. Yeah, please, Brawl Stars, do something about this. A new ultra rare emote, this unique pin, was added to the game last September, but it had never been used. So it hadn't been released until today. One of his friends, who's a content creator, managed to get it from one of the new loot boxes. Creator, only content creators can get it, and it's random, only from creator loot. He managed to get an emote like that, and he's one of the few people who has this emote. It's the rarest emote in the game right now. Since there are really only a few people, you can count them on one hand. So yeah, really huge congratulations. I think that emote will come out at some point. I'd be surprised if it stays that rare, but it's pretty interesting to know. It looks like it's edited, etc. For example, here we can actually see the emote and how it looks. There you go. It's one of the rarest emotes in the game. You get it, see a short animation, and that's it. The rarest emote. It's wild and currently a pinspo exclusive to content creators. I doubt it will stay that way, and I hope not, since that would be pointless. We're discussing amazing things. What's your view on the new Supercell creator program being amazing? Why did I literally just get a spray from the Subway Surfer event for free when it was only available through an offer chain? So you had to buy the offers before to get to this spray. It was step 13, which means you had to spend about 1,700 GM to unlock this spray originally. You see, it says free on this spray. But originally you had to buy all the boom boxes this way, and just think about it. He got this spray for free, even though you originally had to spend 1,700. And it's crazy to have free stuff. Anyway, for now, I think all of this is a bit bugged. I hope it's going to be fixed. Yeah, it doesn't make sense that it benefits the content creator and not the rest, let's say people who are playing now. We're also going to talk about something else that really interests you, the famous predictions. So last time we looked at the predictions for Europe and East Asia. There was nearly a perfect score, just 3 mistakes in over 14 matches. That's a strong ratio. Now let's discuss South America's predictions. Once again, make sure to save this video, or at least what I'm going to say. Anyway, write it down somewhere. If you really want to make predictions, be careful, it's better to do them live. But at least it's said, and I won't be late. For the predictions, you can start predicting from March 21st at 6 PM, at least for all that, yes, it's in a little while, but it will be done. And above all, you have these rewards again. So now it's going to start opening up. You can unlock from 1,600 to 2,000 more for those who have fewer points. Like me, you can still catch up on all of that, but remember to do it now. Some emotes are still rare and given to very few people. For the first match, you're going to pick NHG, who are currently second in South America and made it to the finals. Normally, they have a big advantage, so you should pick them. For the second quarterfinal, honestly, their level is pretty much the same. I couldn't say who's going to win, but I'd still go with the first team, Ningam Nisigura. But honestly, nothing is certain. They have about the same level here too. It's a huge quarterfinal. Normally, this could almost be a final match, but I would still put Loud first. Be careful, these are two strong South American teams, but their usual advantage is gone. They finished first last season, so we'll trust them. It's surprising. Eternal won the last Monty finals, but lost in the Monty qualifiers, which is why they entered through the lower bracket. Meanwhile, Onipo Squad is still a good team, often making it to the semi-finals, but normally Eternal is above them since they won the Monty finals. I would rather put Eternal as the winner, and for the semi-finals I would pick Nag, who then qualifies for the grand final. For me, Loud would beat Eternal this time and would even win the final and become champion against NHG. Now, the North America Monty final is a bit more complicated. The match will take place on March 22 at 8 PM, so it's a bit later. Team Electro versus Match Gamer is a clear choice, just like Team Electro Vatic versus Trap Gaming. Pick Trap Gaming too. They lost during the Monty qualifiers, but normally they're supposed to win. Be careful, it's still quite a tough match. Far Bobby versus Legacy Esports, I would rather go with Far Bobby. And finally, Vicday versus Zoo Esports, I would rather go with Vicday, who notably eliminated Trap during the Monty qualifiers, and Zoo Esports. Honestly, they're good, they eliminated STMN, that's why they qualified, but I would still go with Vicday. As for the semi-finals, I think it's going to be very tough. I'll go with Team Electro again. I think Far Bobby will make the finals. They're really good. They used to be KDS, but I don't know why they're not listed as KDS now. Maybe their contract ended. I haven't followed the story, so I'd prefer Far Bobby versus Vicday. For the final, Team Electro still achieved something great. They already won the first Monstry final, but I wouldn't put Team Electro. I would rather put Far Bobby as the winner. But yeah, it's very complicated. Honestly, it's not really the easiest thing. I much prefer Europe or East Asia. Anyway, I have to talk about it. Moko, some of you guys may have played it. It turns 1 year old today, so there's an anniversary event for anyone interested. For those who play, you never know. There could be feedback about Neo Moko, so the future game bringing back Moko might have something to address. I need to discuss this since it's messy, but will it return and create hype? I doubt it, but we should watch it. If the game releases, it could bring big changes and be a hit. We're keeping an eye on the community's reactions. We have to talk about it. It's kind of crazy, like the main screen is cluttered. It's true that when you look at the game like this, there are things everywhere. Well, except maybe in the middle. But there are buttons everywhere. You can click here, here. Basically, all the buttons around you can click. It's crazy, the number of buttons. Back in the day, there weren't that many. Not to mention the fact that a lot of things are flashing and moving and all that. I admit it's crazy with all the new stuff, free things, I don't know what, all those little alerts like that. I just want to click everywhere. Just as a reminder, in 2020 the screen looked like this. We only had a few buttons. There were a lot fewer. I'm so tired of getting the same Egyptian themes over and over again. Seriously, Supercell, please make more unique updates. Well, at the same time, the Egyptian theme, it's not about Nagia, but it's true that we have a lot of skins with the Egyptian theme, at least right now. And it's not over yet, since there's still one person missing in the trio of Funks and Nagia. So there will definitely be something else. But yes, it's true that there are a lot of themes that come back quite often. At the same time, it has to be said, Ramadan is happening at the same time, so every time, let's say, the skins and this theme come back around the same moment, even though in reality there's not necessarily a connection. But yeah, I don't know why they bring back all the skins at that same time. But there could be so many themes, like for example Biodome anyway, lots of things they could add and change a bit. Is it intentional? Well, watch this video. You see a meeple about to use a classic hypercharge and go through walls, but Billy will push the meeple into that wall instead. So, is this normal or is it a bug? Because honestly, if Billy had pushed the meeple like that and he couldn't go through the wall normally, the meeple was done for. He would have been eaten by Billy in a few seconds. Here, honestly, he couldn't do much. So, is it intentional or not? Well, the answer is yes, it's not a bug, it's nothing at all. Why? Simply, Meeple is already in his ultimate, and you can see that here he's still in his ultimate form. Right after he goes through the wall, he returns to his normal form, and at that point, he technically wouldn't be able to go through the wall. What does the hypercharge tell us? Since I'm not in the game, I went to the Brawl Stars wiki, and it tells us very precisely Meeple's super has a 30% larger radius. Watching the video, we see the hypercharge radius is much larger than normal. Interestingly, it also shows that during his hypercharge ultimate, he can still pass through walls and over water. For an extra 0.5 seconds, that means if he comes out of his hypercharge, for an additional 0.5 seconds. So here, he's in his hypercharge, and here, he's not anymore. When he's pushed, he can still go through walls, which explains how he does it, so it's not a bug. This helps debunk that, and I find it interesting. That means, yes, you can go through a small patch of water or whatever. If it's almost touching, it's still the hypercharge's power. Ultimately, Lex deserves all the credit for this sniper range diagram. Lex, a YouTuber, made this diagram for us. For example, Mandy is the brawler who shoots the farthest, except for Spike now, with Buffy or his spikes. You know, when they split, they go much farther. But for example, we can actually see that Mandy shoots farther than Nani. Typically, what's interesting here is that we can see, for example, Janet's range, which goes up to here. We see Maisie at about the same level, and Bonnie a bit farther away. And for example, Brock and Piper, who are almost at the same level, but are just slightly below Angelo, Belle, Pierce, and B, who are at the same level. Piper doesn't shoot as far as they do. The reason is quite simple. It's because, for example, Belle, Angelo, Pierce, and B have projectiles that are bigger, and it's just the size of the projectile that makes it shoot farther. Belle's range is slightly less, but it doesn't make much difference, as you can see. But at least now you know which ones shoot the farthest. There's just Spike who shoots even farther, but that's different. It's really because of the bullets. Ironically, the most advanced technology in the game is on this brawler. The least skilled, well, less skilled now because there are buffs, so obviously it requires less skill, let's say, to master him. But before the buffs arrived, all the mains, BB mains had to come up with really clever techniques to stay competitive, especially this one. Here, you land a hit and see your ultimate at the same time. And if you manage to handle both well, you can have 2 bubble attacks since you have a knockback. On the robot specifically, which is faster than the bubble, so the bubble goes through. Technically, honestly, it's not the most advanced technique. He has other techniques that are much more complicated, but I admit it's something. Now, you don't really need it anymore, considering how strong Billy is. Well, you still need it. It's a technique you really have to learn, but it's pretty complicated. But yeah, Billy is really strong now, but I think it's interesting to talk about it, honestly. Sorry for winning 3 games in a row, just to give you an idea. I have about 40,000 trophies. The highest rank I've reached is Mythic. They said it was skill-based matchmaking. And yeah, I admit that, honestly, when you run into that team, it kind of sucks. I can understand that. Well, the problem is that he must have won several games in a row, and of course, he ends up facing stronger and stronger players. he didn't really have any luck, but it was funny to me because you see French people like that and it shows that the French have a good reputation. Given all the hype around that response, honestly, it's not so bad. Even the people commenting, you see, when we see that, it's a bit of a flex. So the French, we're pretty well represented, you have to admit. Let's wrap up. In this short clip, you see a bull about to charge at everyone. Get 2 kills and even get the 3rd kill on Jesse, and he's going to use his ultimate. Please, the fact that you can break things like that, it's a nightmare to play against. Honestly, I rarely play on maps like that. It's just a nightmare, plain and simple. So they'll be able to pick up the gems again. For those who care about the story, they'll be able to pick up the gems and get almost all the kills. And in the end, well, no, it still didn't go well. Because you see, thanks to this, they'll be able to master it completely. And it's not over yet, don't worry, or maybe do. He's just going to use his gadget and get pushed. This thing is horrible, it's horrible. I don't understand how anyone can play with something like this. Fortunately, well, Bull picked up all the gems again, and after that, they almost had it won. Except he ran into a train again, so of course, here we go again, nothing more. Yeah, no, really, something needs to be done about these trains. It's funny for 5 minutes, but come on, I hope you enjoyed this little video. I know there are going to be a lot of changes in Brawl Stars. I can't wait to see where it's going. At least you're up to date and ahead of all that. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. As usual, see you next time. Just use code Periado and bye, guys.